Good luck trying to make these characters work, cause unless you're in some deep trouble waiting for an edgy intro, these characters aren't moving a muscle. But wait for that edgy intro though, and you will see these supposed lazy characters turn up and show you exactly why they don't like to try hard, because if they do, the show might just end right there.
The employees here like you?
Welcome back to Animeology, and today we'll be looking at the top 10 lazy characters that are unstoppable. But just cause the intro was lazy doesn't mean you have to be, so make sure to subscribe. Number 10, Karma Akabane, Assassination Classroom.
よかった。なら殺せるよ。確実に。
Being a lazy character in a show where you can't really afford to be lazy at all is a pretty daring way to live. Lucky for Karma, his latent abilities, intellect, and overall capabilities as a person are so sharp that he doesn't feel the need to try at all. Assassination Classroom's premise is made pretty clear in the very first episode of the series. In simple words, a group of kids has to kill a fast yellow blob or the fast yellow blob blasts Earth. Merry Christmas. This group of students is known as assassins, and their overall capability is measured by their strength, arm skills, and intellect. Within these boundaries, Karma crushes his fellow students by a long shot. The whole lazy but unstoppable trope was glorified throughout the series, with this character as his introduction was that of a delinquent who ranked low and was about to be treated as that arrogant guy who gets wrecked all the time. But Karma immediately shocked the fans and the characters after ranking as the #1 student, while making his skills as an assassin known, letting everyone know that he is lazy by choice. Number 9, Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, Classroom of the Elite.
女子高生に乱暴。明日はテレビで一躍有名人だな。
As the protagonist, Ayanokoji Kiyotaka fits into one of those loner high schoolers who aren't lonely at all, but there is simply so much more about him that I can't even put into words how much of an interesting character he is. If you look at this man's face, and he literally personifies the term, I am done and I want to go home. But Ayanokoji has established himself as one of the most polarizing and mysterious anime characters in recent years. In a show called Classroom of the Elite, where classrooms literally compete in fear factor ripoffs to gain points and higher rank, Ayanokoji acts as uninterested as possible. The school makes it clear that collaborative team effort is the only way to make it through in the school, so you'd wonder if Ayanokoji would make the smart move of socializing and showing some enthusiasm, but no. That is not what Ayanokoji is about. His genius-level intellect combined with his ability to manipulate people and situations to his benefit lets him get the absolute most out of any scenario with as minimal interest and effort. And the dude is unbearably selfish, so yeah. Number 8, Sloth, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I really feel like the author of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood had it easy while coming up with character names. I mean, it's like looking at table salt, but instead of calling it salt, you say it's sodium chloride and call it a day. And the result of such laziness was a character named Sloth. Well, not really, since his character name was actually named after one of the 7 deadly sins of man. Anyway, Sloth is one of the main antagonists of Fullmetal, and he really doesn't make much of an impact story-wise because he had the thinking capacity of a hamster, but boy was he tanky. The homunculus is slow, he walks slow, has slow offense, is rarely invested in anything, but the dude just would not go down. It took the entire fort of Briggs and the Elric brothers to temporarily neutralize the menace before he came back for the final showdown, dropped his laziness for a couple of episodes, and rained down a plethora of physical abuse on the main military. It was some macho shenanigans. Number 7, Aomine Daiki, Kuroko's basketball. When Aomine Daiki was first introduced in Kuroko's basketball as a major antagonist, they made it clear that God himself had stepped down and learned basketball because mortal progress wasn't impressive enough. Aomine Daiki was the ace of the generation of miracles. 5 middle schoolers who were exceptionally talented, unreal to be playing as a team in a single generation. And Aomine was their ace, so yeah, he could score a 3. In fact, the very idea of Aomine as a character was to make an athlete so freakishly good that he eventually thought practicing would only make the game less fun for him. Aomine as an athlete knew that he could get better but chose not to, so that he could at least feel some level of challenge from his opponents. He mostly skipped practices, was barely playing basketball outside any tournament, and had no training routine at all. This is why you'd think he would be rusty and make mistakes, but no. His laziness never affected his individual skill. The only weaknesses he had was his inability to be a team player, which ultimately led to his downfall. Number 6. Hachiman Hikigaya, Oregairu. No, hear me out, cause there will be a couple of slice of life anime characters here, because we haven't really defined the boundaries of unstoppable. Hachiman Hikigaya isn't necessarily a lazy character, but seeing how he presents himself throughout the series, the audience can make out that he is lazier than your average human being. But that doesn't stop Hachiman from being one of the most deeply layered, complex, and fundamentally crude characters in the entire series. Given how he isn't actually experienced in social interactions and relationships in general, Hachiman is weirdly witty and very smart for his age. His ability to read people, read situations, and come up with quick and long-term countermeasures have helped him and his close circle cut some really close calls throughout the plot of Oregairu. His biggest trait is when he is in a debate where, regardless of his positions and accusations, he always finds a way to take the W. Number 5. Beerus, Dragon Ball franchise. I mean, I wouldn't technically call him lazy since he is said to have trained like crazy to have those godly powers, but Beerus, ever since becoming an entity of destruction in the DB universe, has been taking a vacation of a lifetime. Since he is a balancing entity of the universe, there really isn't much for him to do other than slack off and hibernate and wake up occasionally to blow up some planets, after tasting the delicacies they have to offer. Even his fights are very underwhelming because he barely breaks a sweat. I mean, the guy doesn't even throw a punch. He literally flicks his opponents and wins. When you are that powerful, it makes sense to be lazy like that. And in Beerus' case, he is a god with an even stronger assistant. No wonder he sleeps for decades. Number 4. Aizawa Shota, My Hero Academia.
20秒17秒
From all the entries in this character, Aizawa Shota embodies the look of a lazy person. I mean, sure, Karma is lazy, but he doesn't look that being up. Ayanokoji could wear a smile, but you won't be able to tell the man likes minimal engagement, but Aizawa has a straight up, I am done with this face all the time. Being the homeroom teacher of what is supposed to be the most important classroom of the school, Aizawa sure doesn't like to live up to the occasion, so much so that he brings a sleeping bag to his classroom and takes a nap whenever he gets some free time. And his free time is almost all the time he isn't talking with someone else. However, Aizawa is blessed with one of the most overpowered quirks in all of My Hero, that simply allows him to take away the powers of all those he looks at. Like, that's it. Once he looks at you, your powers are gone and won't come back until he blinks. It's a shame he has dry eyes. Number 3. Speigel, Cowboy Bebop. Is Spike ranking so high on this list debatable? Yes, given how he isn't quite as unstoppable in any aspect of his expertise, but we had to put him up here because this was one of those legendary characters who made being lazy look cool and had an absolute style of being lazy. Spike Spiegel's personality couldn't have been better for a show about space cowboys. Being a bounty hunter, Spike would come across notorious criminals every so often, so you could say he wasn't as lazy as he acted because he trained to fight like a beast. I mean, like some real Bruce Lee stuff at times. Nonetheless, you won't see Spike spending extra energy or going out of his way to do anything specific at all. unless it is absolutely crucial to him and his team. The man likes to play it low, play it cool, and avoid as much trouble as possible, but when trouble is inevitable, Spike likes to be the biggest troublemaker in the room. Number 2. Nara Shikamaru, Naruto Shippuden. If you've watched both Naruto and Naruto Shippuden with a broad mind and without indulging in the author's attempt to make Sasuke look Chad as hell, then you will most definitely agree that Shikamaru was the best side character in the show, in a lot of aspects. Shikamaru is a character who has one of the least numbers of haters and a ton of admirers for his maturity, wit, but most of all his personality. Shikamaru is a different kind of lazy. He's responsible enough to take on a lot of work, which was often considered too important for his job, but he always found ways to do them in the most efficient way possible with the least effort required, thanks to his impeccable decision making and strategies. This is also one of the main reasons he is a very fearsome shinobi in the world of Naruto. Shikamaru is a support shinobi, which means his abilities aren't suited for one-on-one all-out battles, but given enough backup and some time, Shikamaru will always find ways to dissect the situation, observe the enemy, and make the best possible decision for his team to either win or survive. You just cannot question this man's ability to make wise decisions. Number 1. Sakata Gintoki Gintama. Gintoki is such an underrated protagonist in all of Shonen. He doesn't get nearly enough credit for his powers, personality, and duality of them. Being the main character of a show that was literally made to troll other shows, Gintoki is weirdly funny and extremely lazy, which adds to the hilarious flares he has. He is shown to be a man who doesn't take many situations seriously, likes to joke around with his subordinates, and overall makes fun of almost every situation he's in, and his face sells all of it, which leads you to believe he must be pretty peaceful and not combat prepared at all. But nope, this prankster was once known as Shiroyasha, which literally translates to White Demon, because of his unrivaled skills in swordsmanship and absolute brutality in the battlefield. Gintoki mostly likes to prevent people from knowing who he really is and likes to have a rather low profile on his abilities as a samurai. You will never see this man going all out on any occasion. This is why when he does go berserk, it is an absolute spectacle, a brutal showdown, and easily one of the best sword fights anime has to offer.